Hi, and welcome to today's episode of the Property Pod. Today I'm joined by Natasha from NB Interiors. Thanks so much for joining us today.
No worries.
And we're going to be talking about how to make your home better through interior design. So welcome to the podcast. Thanks so much for coming on. It's great to have you here.
Well, thanks for asking me.
Yeah. And tell me a bit about NB Interiors and what you do.
So I've been running my business for about 5 years, based in Ipswich, and I focus on residential designs, so just working across Suffolk and North Essex, and sometimes I'll do bits and pieces for property developers, so styling show homes and properties to sell.
Really cool, yeah.
That's my main focus.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Cool. And what are the interior trends that you're seeing so far this year?
So people have kind of gone for sort of quite a lot softer, sort of more muted colours. There's a lot more focus on sort of natural materials as well, and kind of quite sort of curved furniture, sort of softer shapes. So people are kind of going for sort of a lot more sort of relaxed, comfortable spaces.
Yeah.
I think obviously the pandemic has kind of changed people's perceptions of how they want their homes to feel, to kind of get that sort of calm serene sort of feel at home, so like their sort of escapism.
Yeah, definitely. It's interesting to like see the shift, because I think it used to be, I don't know, what I found with people's homes and stuff is that people had a lot of colour and like lots of like paint and stuff and whatever, and now it's like very white, toned down. I don't know. Yeah, there
was a real trend of like dark interiors and quite moody, but I think people's moods have changed and they want something a bit softer and a bit more gentle.
Chilled out,
definitely.
Because I think because you're in your home so much, it's like you would want to be in a more sort of muted, white, chilled out environment. Yeah, especially with the stress of the last few years, just like
absolutely
make it spa-like. Yeah.
I mean, they still want to use colour, but just in a lot softer sort of tones. So more sort of muted pastels and sort of earthy colours.
Oh, okay,
quite popular.
Interesting. And what do you think will be a trend in the next year or so?
I think the trend of the sort of softer colours will continue, but I think there's a big shift in sustainability, so people are kind of changing their sort of shopping habits a little bit, so it's I think that kind of impacts the design. So there's more people, I have more clients that are reusing furniture, but we're upcycling it, so it might be, I don't know, painting a chest of drawers and just moving it to a different room. So I think there's a lot more people kind of shopping their home, but we're changing it. So I think the shift is kind of definitely down the more sustainable route.
Definitely, yeah. Oh, interesting. Because I suppose before people wouldn't even really think about that as much, because I do think in the last few years there's been a shift towards wanting like greener trends just in general for everything, like business, whatever. So that's interesting to hear you say that people are just upcycling their furniture and stuff. Yeah, and
obviously as a designer it's just actually looking and thinking, well, do they need to replace everything? So I've got clients at the moment who wanted to replace everything, but actually the sofa's still quite new, and kind of convince them to keep it.
Oh, good.
It works with the design. So I think it's just losing that wanting to buy everything new and actually thinking about the environmental impacts and just reusing what people have, but in different ways. So
definitely. Interesting. And where do you get your inspiration for your projects from?
So lots of different places. So I go to interior design shows, Pinterest, social media, magazines.
Nice.
Even just going to homeware shops, galleries as well, can get kind of good colour inspiration. So lots of different places.
Okay, great. And how can a person make their home more appealing to a potential buyer through interior design?
I think it's just making sure the home, one, feels like a home. The rooms have clear functionalities so people understand, how the space can be used. Make sure it's not cluttered, and that it's not over personalised, that they can see themselves in the space as well. And again, I think that comes to kind of colours as well, so making it feel quite not too loud necessarily. So kind of sort of softer colours and creating that homely feel. It's definitely appealing to people.
Yeah. And is there a way to make small spaces seem bigger through interior design?
Yeah, so there's some clever tricks to use. So using lighter colours, there's different kinds of paints that have sort of higher light reflective values that can bounce the light more. Also the different types of finish. So if you have something with more of a sheen, it can obviously reflect light. Things like placing mirrors in certain places of a room can help bounce light around. And also furniture, making sure it's in proportion to the room, and generally kind kind of up off the floor, so rather than sofas sat directly on the floor on feet. So the more floor space you see, the more sense of space there is in the room. So kind of more slender furniture, maybe even glass tables, for example. So you kind of visually you see more of the room. So yeah, there are some clever tricks.
Yeah, very clever. I didn't even think about the mirror thing, but I suppose it's true. Yeah, I think often I've like been in a room and there's a huge mirror, and I think, oh, this room is massive, and then you like walk as
yeah, it gives a lot more sense of space and sort of lighter colours. If you had a dark floor, it makes the space feel a lot smaller. So it's just picking colours that kind of gives it a bigger sense of space.
Yeah, interesting. And would you like say that it's? I don't know if it makes any impact on like carpet or like floorboards. Do you think either of those like makes like a difference?
I think that just has an impact on sort of the feel of the room. But if they're both of a light colour, I think you still kind of get the same impact of making the room feel bigger.
Yeah. And with the paint thing, that's really interesting. I've never even heard of the whole like light reflecting sheen stuff. Is there like a way that people can look for it on like a?
Some companies like Little Green actually have the value listed on the website under each colour. So obviously the higher the value, the more it bounces the light around the room. But even things like using gloss paint obviously is kind of shiny, so again it can help sort of bounce the light. So it's just about creating as much sort of light as possible. And obviously lighting is really key.
Definitely.
Yeah. So
just make everything a disco ball.
Yeah.
Nothing shiny. Oh, fab. And is there a way to make a house flow better?
Yeah, so again it comes down to colour and have a flow throughout the home. Doesn't mean it has to be the same colour throughout, but it's having like a select number of colours, maybe sort of 5 that you use throughout the whole space that kind of links it. So it's thinking of rooms that you see from other rooms, make sure the colours kind of actually flow, keeping the same sort of design style that flows throughout the house as well. So you wouldn't have one room in like mid-century and move to another one that's all vintage. So it's just having that kind of flow, and also the space planning, so the layouts kind of really key. So it's how you move through rooms as well, so it kind of gives you that kind of flow through the house.
I suppose you don't want to like go through the house and then it's like a small bit and then a wall or whatever, so you can actually move through it.
So when you're planning obviously rooms and furniture placement, it's thinking of how spaces are used and how people kind of walk through the house as well, so it flows on that level.
Okay, great. And can you do renovation projects for people that aren't sure where to start with their renovation, and especially for like renovating and revamping an old property, and how are those sort of done?
Yes. So I think it always starts with kind of where the client want to get to, what's the end result they're looking for. With old properties, there's so many sort of unknown things that you would never kind of know until you start unpicking.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So it's kind of making sure when people are renovating old properties, they're aware of what they're up against. And then it's always enlisting builders to come have a look at what sort of renovation works need to be done, because I think you do need more specialist people with things like that. And it's planning their budget. So are they aware of what the budget will cover versus what they want to achieve? It's just kind of having a process in place that kind of helps them kind of put the renovation together and in process, and that they can do it. And with old houses, it's knowing about sort of the right materials to use. So things like, old houses with red brick, for example, need to have lime plaster on the walls. So it's things like that. They're planning for all of that. So
interesting. Well, it's like even just speaking before this about lime plaster and all these different sort of materials, I wouldn't even know where to start with that sort of stuff, because I guess it does really impact the like way the house is made and the durability of it and stuff.
Yeah, definitely. So it's kind of having all that knowledge and obviously relaying that to the clients so they understand actually what's involved with an old house, because it sometimes can be opening a huge can of worms at times.
I can imagine. That's a lot of work. But worth it in the end.
Yeah, definitely. It's nice to see old houses restored, but I think people can underestimate what is involved.
Definitely. So, And for first-time buyers, do you think there's a way to spruce up their new homes on a budget?
Yeah, there's so many fab products out there that are kind of sort of purse-friendly, and there's lots of kind of cool tricks that you can do that probably see on social media. So there's something actually I've done for a client recently where we added moulding to the walls to create panelling. So that's quite a sort of cost-effective feature that you can add to your homes that doesn't cost a huge amount. Obviously paint is not, doesn't have to be expensive, and that's a great way of transforming homes, is putting colour on walls. There's fab things like stick-on tiles and things that so you can add. You can paint tiles. So there's lots of options. I think it's getting creative and clever and kind of knowing what's on the market of what you can add to new builds, and that's obviously purse friendly. So
yeah, interesting. I didn't even know there was such a thing as stick-on tiles. Go look that up on a map. Yeah, interesting. And are there any features or decor that may seem like a great idea, but you think people should probably avoid putting in their home?
I think that is really dependent on their home. So I think you have to kind of look at what you want to add in and what your home is. So, for example, if you've got an old Victorian home, do you put in super modern things? Is it going to work? Or I think it's looking actually at the space that what is your idea, what's the decor, and what space are you putting it into. Most things can work. It depends how you implement it. But I mean, okay, I think like a Georgian cottage you wouldn't make ultra modern.
No.
So I think it's kind of looking at the property age and style and kind of working with that, but you can obviously adapt. But I don't think there's one particular decor that I say definitely don't use. I think it's just looking at what works in that house. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Well, thank you so much for all that. It's so interesting to have you on. Thank you.
Thank you.
And for you guys at home, if you did enjoy this episode, please don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.